These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Are we ready? Are we ready?
Oh, God, yeah.
To light the lamp? To put the biscuit in the basket a few times, boys, huh?
To go rough some people up? You bet I am. You bet I am. Throw some body checks?
This is Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd, your daily dose of Minnesota sports entertainment, speculation, and therapy. The therapy part very much needed on the Wolves side of the equation. We covered that in a separate segment and also on Flagrant House. You can check that out. But our winter sports teams, man, it's usually a short burst of light, and then they're gone, poof, from the playoffs.
No, not this time.
But we will always have this week or week and a half, whatever happens. This is a glorious week and a half. Can either one of these... Actually, you know what? Let's fire it up here. It's a Statements Monday. I'll give you the first one. Old Macadac here. Okay? All I want is winter sports teams playing in the month of May. Can they get us to May? That's all I'm asking. It's April 17th.
That should be the slogan.
Get us to May.
Get us to May. That's a T-shirt, damn it.
Yes. Okay, mathematically speaking, how many of these games... How spaced out is the first round playoff series here for the Wild?
Every
Are
other.
all the games going to be in? They're all going to be in 8. So they'd have to win their first round series to get to May, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's my ask right now.
Yeah.
Go win in 6. Go win in 7. I don't care.
You wait 3 days to play in basketball, then you wait 4 days, and then the finals end on July 4th. Nope, you are right. Get us to May is a very, you know what? It's very fair too. It's a very fair ask. I think it is more than fair to ask for, because you're not saying June, you're not saying Stanley Cup.
Well, people are going to point out how hypocritical we are, because on Purple Daily, the slogan is, we want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl, and we hold them to that standard. And our winter sports teams have just, like, twisted our arm into, like, oh, okay, fine. May.
Well,
how about May? May 1st. May 1st. Just get to the second round.
If you're going to get to the Stanley Cup Finals, you first have to get to May.
Yeah, you can't get to June without getting to May.
Exactly right. I like it.
I think you should wave the flag.
I like it. Hold on a second. Here we go. State of hockey flag. There we go.
Just get to May, boys.
Woo! Get to May. Little May.
Just get to May.
2003. You know what we did in 2003? We got to May.
That's right. And then we got to, well, did we get to the early part of June? No. Yeah.
No,
well, I think we may have.
Hold on a second. I got
on.
the media guide right here.
Let me see if Google
I got
can
the
beat
media
you.
guide right here. I got the media guide. I'm looking at the 2003 playoffs right now.
What?
Nope.
Is it just open on that page?
5/16, May 16th. I know where it is. I got my Twins guide.
So the Stanley Cup Finals started shortly after and then ended in early June. Is that what happened?
Yep.
Okay.
Back then it was quicker. In fact, I believe today was in 2003. I believe today was the day of Game 4 in the first round between the Avs and Wild.
Okay.
And we're just starting now.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think. Well, no. If they hadn't gotten swept by the Ducks, they still wouldn't have gotten to June. So
it's okay. Your point stands, though. Get us to May.
Yes, that's not that much to ask.
Go ahead, Dex.
My statement is break the streak. So the Wild have, I believe it's 7 consecutive playoff exits since they've won a playoff series. Okay, so 7 consecutive. Only Toronto, I believe, has a longer streak than that, which is actually hilarious because, the mecca of hockey in Toronto, who also do not have a lot of postseason success. It's them in Minnesota. It's time to break the damn streak. Dallas is a really good team. They're coming in red hot. They've won a ton of games since February 1st, similar to the Wild. They have great depth. They have great veteran guys that have been there a while. They have younger players who have stepped up. Jason Robertson was runner-up to Kirill for the Calder Trophy 2 years ago. Wyatt Johnston is 19 years old and scored like 30 goals for them this year. It's a good team. Jake Ottinger in net, a Minnesotan as well. It's a really good team, but it is time for the Wild to play up to par. It is time for the Wild to show up and not just force a 6 or 7 game series. It is time for them to go to the second round, potentially make a run to the Stanley Damn Cup.
Wow.
Break the streak, please. It is time to break the streak.
Right. Yep.
Go.
Yep. And
Run.
enough.
Wow, you just raised the bar from my expectations.
And enough.
So you
with
wanted to get to
excuses.
like mid to late May, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. I would love
Well,
that.
at least win a series and then win a second one. I don't want to hear any damn excuses. Oh, X hurt. Tons of guys are hurt. Well, Dallas is good. Well, you know what? It's the playoffs.
Everyone's good.
Yeah, exactly right. Do your job.
Do we have clarity on the goaltending situation, or do we have to wait until like basically like whoever it is unmasks at face-off to show you who it is?
I think we'll know in well, they'll try, and if there is, and I'm guessing that there is a morning skate in Dallas.
Probably happening right now, actually.
It's going to probably tip the hand a little bit, but there's a chance that won't, and if so, it'll be pre-game warm-ups when the starting goaltender comes out first.
Okay.
I mean, that's all I got for you. And it better be Gustafsson.
That's the thing. Why would it not be Gustafsson at this
it probably
point?
is.
What is the
probably
sell
is.
on Fleury? Hey, I know the numbers skew toward Gustafsson,
Well-
but we think Gustafsson, because he's so young, is going to have a struggle in the playoffs, and Fleury, because he's Fleury, that's the only argument, right? That throw the numbers out in the playoffs, Fleury's going to be better.
It dovetails perfectly into my statement, which is the aforementioned, do your job. I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the head coach. Gentlemen, I did some work yesterday because I was doing a wild preview column for my friends at Minnesota Hockey. I did some work on Dean Evason's background as a playoff coach. And let me tell you right now that it's not just the Wild, which has not won a first-round series since 2015, who have some hurdles to get past. Dean Evason has made 13 playoff appearances with his teams as a head coach, going back to 6 consecutive playoff appearances with 3 different teams in the Canadian Junior Western Hockey League. He then coached the Milwaukee Admirals for 6 years, and that led them to 4 playoff appearances before he led the Wild to, I believe they are now, if you include the playoff qualifying tournament in the bubble, I believe it's 5th playoff appearance with Dean, right? Because it was, or 4th, it was Vancouver, it was Vegas, 4th, and St. Louis, and now Dallas, okay? He has won 2 series in 13 at all. Now, Phil, you will recall that when Boudreau got the job here, when Bruce was hired, one of the things was Game 7s. He can't win them. And we talked about, like, that's typical hockey. It's just a flip of the coin at times. Like, there are probably things that you do wrong, but it's a lot of luck. It's one game. But we're talking playoff series here. So we're not talking small sample size. We're not talking pucks going off breezers. We're talking coaching. He had 3 different jobs and was fired twice in juniors because he couldn't get his teams basically past the first round. He won 2 series. He then goes to Milwaukee in 4 playoff appearances. And I'm going to say this slowly because it's remarkably horse bleep. He was 1-12 in those games.
Wow.
He won 1 playoff game out of 13.
Okay, why do you think that is?
I believe I put this in the note I sent you guys on our text thread. My sense at that point in time, we got ourselves some Gardy problems.
So I covered those Gardenhire, not all of them, but
Enough.
a handful of Gardy regular seasons and playoff runs. Well, runs is a strong word. Runs is what they had going down the back of their leg during those games against the Yankees.
You meant appearances.
Yeah. So, yeah, Gardenhire was always a really good regular season manager for the most part, and that he was able to keep everyone. Your job as a baseball manager, and I think the same is true with hockey coaches too, is to create an environment where players can perform close to their 100th percentile as often as possible, right? Like, line combinations, chemistry, vibes in the room, bullpen decisions for baseball players. There's all sorts of things that go into just making the vibes good. It's kind of a hard job to quantify, but in football, it's a lot of X's and O's. You're literally like trying to out-scheme opponents with your 11 chess pieces on both sides of the ball. And there's some scheming in baseball and hockey, but it's largely creating an environment where guys can succeed. And Gardy was great at that in the regular season. But as it was told to me in the postseason, he would get uptight. It was palpable. The nervous energy, the tension. And, at the end of the day, it's on the players to just hit a double in the gap with runners on second and third, right? Or on the umpire, Phil Cuzzy, to call a double instead of a foul ball. But, there was never like a reason why Gardy's teams failed in the playoffs, but there was something about, there was just some weird energy that those Twins teams brought to playoff series under Ron Gardenhire. Maybe the same is true for Dean Evason's teams.
And the best coaches / managers, in my opinion, also understand, they don't get uptight, okay? But they understand that when you get to the playoffs, you are needed more. Because I agree. The regular season, you can basically, if you do a good job, there are a lot of times that I think that you can get away with putting that puppy on autopilot, and it's going to work. But I will give you, last year against the Blues, 6 games and out, extremely disappointing. Craig Berube, the Blues coach, switched goaltenders after like 3 games, made adjustments, made changes. Dean sat back and said, what I did worked, right? And guess what? It did in the regular season. I'll give you a Twins one too. In fact, 2 consecutive years. And this is the same crap. The first year, 2019, Twins are a damn good team, right? They decide Dobnik's going to start game 2 in Yankee Stadium. Yeah. And everyone and their brothers like, hold on a second, you're going to take a guy. He's probably not
ready for that.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to set. So you're telling me you're going to set him up to fail? Well, that's not what's going to happen. Sure enough, it does. The Astros, 2 games and out. Again, home field advantage. 2 starting pitchers pitching great all season long. You went to the pen, and it worked. But in those situations, it didn't work because the playoffs in hockey and baseball, things change. And
so what's something you think that you're worried Evason is going to do that you would like to put a stop to here in advance?
I'm afraid if things start to go wrong, he's going to not juggle lines. I think Guerin's going to make him switch goaltenders. I'm afraid that if he starts Faber, which I think he's going to, on defense, which is really smart, I'm afraid if Brock makes a mistake, Johnny Merrill's going in because I can count on Johnny. He's my punto, right? He's my guy. He's my rock. Dean falls in love with players and veterans. And you know what? Again, that probably works in 82 games. But in the playoffs, you got to be a puppeteer, man. You got to be puppeteering. And I'm afraid he doesn't have, and his track record speaks to this, I'm afraid he doesn't have the wherewithal to know how to puppeteer when it's necessary.
If I with Gardy, I think it was pure nerves. I think with Evason and Rocco, it is a confusion of I don't know what to do. Gardenhire by the end, it was nerves. Like everyone would just pucker, and that was from the top down. I think with Evason, I don't think it's nerves. I think he is looking at a mirror and he doesn't know what he's looking at. Like it's just pure confusion. And then what do? You start to panic a little bit, and I think that's the difference between both those guys.
Yeah. So just chill. Just chill out.
Chill out.
Let
Don't
Brock
be afraid to make
Faber
changes.
be Brock Faber. Although Brock Faber was part of the team that choked away a national championship, so maybe don't want the
Get to May.
Those cowards. Those
Can't get to June if you don't get to May.
Oh man. By the way, Twins tickets on sale at twins.com/tickets. Twins.com/tickets. Your chance to see the Target Field renovations. Your chance to see guys like Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, and new highly paid starting pitcher Pablo Lopez just got a new contract this morning in action. So plenty of tickets available at twins.com/tickets. Maybe it's your first chance if you haven't been to a game yet to see the new uniforms as well at home following their introduction last November. And my next statement for you guys is sort of Twins related, but I guess I hate being the umpire guy and everyone's out to get us from Minnesota, but I guess my statement is, what are we doing here, umpires? So earlier this weekend, Yankee starter Domingo Germán is told, wash whatever it is on your hands off your hands. Okay, so he goes at some point early in the game. So he goes and kind of washes his hands, but he still has like a substance of some kind on his hands. And the umpire pulls him aside. It's a huge scene. Both managers get involved. Rocco gets tossed. And John Boy and some others zoomed in on the Yankees coverage. And you could see this umpire telling him, I can't have you with that on your hands. I told you to wash it off your hands. Okay, so we're checking pitchers the last 2 or 3 seasons for substances on their hands. This dude, by the way, this dude's spin rates were off the charts compared to his averages during the first few innings of this game. And then once you washed it off his hands, the spin rates came back down. So maybe the Twins lose anyways, but what am I missing here? a pitcher has something on his hands. The umpire notices it, gives him a warning. Go wash it off your hands. It's still on his hands.
Yep.
And he's allowed to stay in the game?
Yep.
And good for Rocco for standing up for his team and getting tossed.
Yeah.
Edgy, Judd, you're onto something. Edgy
Baldo's got an
Rocco.
edge.
Edgy
Baldo's got
Rocco.
an edge. You know what? I'm telling you, I think he is sick and tired of being the face of the man that ruined baseball.
I
Well,
think it's a little aggressive.
That ruined baseball.
Well, yeah, the whole thing is if
The
a
face
pitcher
of the man that
if-
ruined baseball.
If a pitcher gets removed, Rocco gets booed and blamed, right? I think he's pushing back, and I like it. Good for Rocco. He should push back.
This is super weird. Like, why? Okay, so if your hands have something on them, there's something dirty, something substantive on your hands. You shouldn't even get the first warning.
were
Quite
warned.
frankly, what's on your hand? You've been warned. It's still on your hands. Why are you still in the game? What's the point of checking every inning? We're going to check pitchers' hands and belt and gloves. We're
Yeah.
going to find something twice, and we're not going to toss him.
The explanation was that pine tar is legal, and it was pine tar. But when he came back and he didn't,
You can't put pine tar in your hand as a pitcher.
They said you can't use spider tack, but they said pine tar is because it's a substance that allows you to grip the baseball so that it doesn't get away from you as much. So you're allowed to have some pine tar, but you're not allowed to like slather it on. And so you're right though, Phil. They told him get it off, and he didn't. And then the interpreter came on. He's like, no, just all a mistake.
According to the Google machine, when you just type in, can a pitcher use pine tar? For batters, it's legal with some exceptions. For pitchers, it is completely illegal.
That's what
umpire-
my understanding is too.
Okay, well the umpire said that they can have
Are you
some
watching
pine tar.
Bally's, Judd?
On the no. They sent a pool reporter to talk to what was his name? Hoy, the plate umpire, did a post game pool report.
Okay.
But anyway, it doesn't. I mean, the point is, and Phil, that's exactly right. They said get it off, and he didn't, so he should be gone. I mean, you're not
there's,
wrong.
There's some speculation that, excuse me, some people were saying it was like rosin, but no, there's a rosin bag out there to make your hands. It's to take like
Yeah,
the
no, you're
sweat
right.
off your hands, basically.
No, you're exactly right.
But you can't just. I don't
Can't
think you
slather
can.
it up.
But you can't. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I'll stand down here, but I don't think you can have any pine tar on your hand if you're a pitcher. I think that was a big reason why, because guys would have like the spider tack is one thing, but even pine tar, I don't know. I just thought that was weird. It's like, okay,
I
we're
might
gonna
have
check
read
this
that
dude
wrong,
5
too.
times. He's gonna have a substance on his hand
Might have
multiple
been
times.
rosin. Yeah.
Stay in the game.
Yep. Good point.
All right. Can I actually give a weekend statement? It's not Twins related, but can I give a weekend statement if that's allowed here? I will not apologize is my statement. I will not apologize for the YouTube audience that I'll show right here for my rare steak love. I sent you guys some text and some tweets saying, check this one out. Even our VP, Dan Seaman, who said, I've seen cows younger than that steak that is on your plate. I love a rare steak, and I will not apologize for this.
For
It is
the
absolutely
audio
delicious.
only podcast audience, the picture on the screen is just a live blinking cow with
Yeah, you're
Declan's fork in it, with blood coming out of its face.
Thank God you can't see this, folks, because I have to look at it. I feel bad.
Okay, maybe I'm definitely not a well done guy. I'm more of a medium rare guy. But I love tartare. I'll eat steak tartare, tuna tartare. We will
medium
go
rare.
we'll go buy salmon from the grocery store and just make like little salmon, like Japanese salmon wraps.
Yeah.
So if I like tartare, which is essentially cold raw meat, right?
Yep. You
Then
would
I'm
like
probably
rare
guess maybe I'm more on Declan's side than I think.
Yep.
It's delicious.
Too
It's
chewy for
absolutely
me.
delicious.
Too chewy. Just slightly too. I don't like to have to chew as long as it takes to chew that.
Well, on the well done side, I feel like it takes
That's
even longer.
too chewy too. Yeah.
It's like
medium
you
rare.
get a tooth caught.
Medium rare is perfection to me. Yeah. No, that's true too.
Okay, Judd.
I'm maxed out. Max Kepler.
Wow.
Max Kepler. It's just it's
deal
time.
over.
It's time to go. I don't know what's up. But he seems, just watching him, he seems like this is an ordeal, a miserable experience playing. He can't hit. He has just been awful. I think he has 2 hits on the entire season. it's just done. Like they brought him back. They tried no more shifts. And you know what? He might go elsewhere and be improved. I don't know. I just feel like here it's done. Sometimes people need a change, and he looks like a guy who either desperately needs a change or, and I'm not trying to be flippant here, is in the wrong line of work.
Dude, so since he signed that contract, because he signed that contract after the 2019 season, in which he was legitimately one of the better hitters in all of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It was a juice ball season, but he had 36 home runs, 90 RBIs, 98 runs scored, an 855 OPS, and an OPS plus of 123, which was 23% better than average. Since he signed that contract, his OPS plus has dropped below average, from 23% above average to below average, 218 batting average, 310 on base, and the power is gone. So, I don't know, man. One of the weirder cases. We talk about Miguel Sano and him just kind of, fizzling out as a prospect. Based on where Max Kepler was in 2019 as a 26-year-old, who would have saw these 4 years coming? No. And this year he has 2 hits so far. He's only played in 6 games, but
1 home run.
It's
2
a
hits.
disaster. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess the good news is they do have guys like Kirilloff is probably going to be back soon. And,
that's what I'm saying.
And Larnett can play a little bit. So they've got corner guys, and they could, at some point, they could probably tuck Michael Taylor or Buxton in a corner if they want to risk running Buxton back out to the outfield. But
Buxton had a rough weekend. 12 at-bats, 10 strikeouts.
Since he collided with the second baseman, right?
I threw that out there, yeah.
Is he more banged up than we think?
It looked like it could have been a ding, like a slight concussion or something. I don't know. It's just it's weird that he looks clueless now.
Yeah. I got one. I know you got to bounce here because you got to get to the studio for Royce, but I'm going to give you one more weekend. I need heads to roll at Netflix today. I need people to be updating their LinkedIn profiles. Someone needs to be held accountable for the debacle that we saw last night.
I appreciate that.
Last
I appreciate
night
you. Go after him.
Was Netflix's Super Bowl, okay? This is one of the top content platforms in the world. How much money does that company bring in every year? Netflix annual revenue. Let's see here.
Bounce, remember?
We're bringing in $30 billion a year in revenue at Netflix, and we can't afford a hamster that can churn the wheel for a live stream of a reunion show. The Love is Blind reunion show was supposed to be the second ever live show on Netflix.
They can glitch. We are still in the early days of live streams, okay?
Really?
We're not there yet.
Tell you what, Vikings vent line would never delay by 90 minutes.
It better not,
tell you sorry,
or heads would
okay?
roll. Heads would go. Correction, I was wrong. It was rosin, not pine tar.
Okay. Judd's like, you can use pine tar.
Yeah. I'm getting
nice
old.
Grip on that
I'm going on very little sleep. I screwed up. I'd like to apologize, but before you tweet me, after a weekend of just being annihilated for about 3 tweets, I was wrong.
What were the tweets you were annihilated? Well, yeah,
we want Denver.
The Wolves destroy Oklahoma City, and the fans are chanting, "We want Denver." And here comes Judd's barreling into the room saying,
"See how they feel."
See you feel about a week. Yeah, and you know what? It didn't even take a week. No, you don't want Denver.
Judd just pissing all over the
fans. No, you don't want
optimism.
Denver. It was unbelievable how mad they were. It was
good.
great.
I'm glad. Sometimes just let people feel joy for 5 minutes before you come in with your, well, they're probably going to lose to Denver. Okay.
I didn't say that. I said, we'll see how they feel about it. And they got beat by 30 points.
See how they feel.
You know what? Sports Dad is here to bring reality. Okay? This ain't all a birthday party.
All right. Get out of here. I
got
see Judd over on Royce Unchained. This is Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd.